Hello, this is me, Josh Hunter. I'm here on the planet Earth, and I got a new jutsu for you today. This is inspired. I don't know if you know this, but my voice sounds a little different. I mean, it sounds different to me, but not like all right. Anyway, I don't know if you know, like, I'm a fan of the movie. Not like a fan, like, but just like I like the series. Alien, Aliens. What is it? With the xenomorph and the eggs and the thing with the mouth inside the mouth. Anyway, I'm not a fan. I don't like the whole series. I would only watch like the first one and the last two, I think. Meaning the first movie, Alien, and Alien Covenant, and Prometheus. Those are the only ones that I that I like. But this jutsu is inspired by by the first one, because like to me, like that was like a very serious thing. The first Alien movie, like I could watch. That's one of those movies like I could watch every day. Like I wouldn't. It is such a sobering, such a sobering film about real things. Okay, real to me anyway. So this jutsu is called "That's Not Our System," no jutsu, and it's in the first Alien movie. I didn't think I'd have a... Okay, all right. Sigourney Weaver's character, Ellen Ripley, has to... she's like the protagonist. And she had... Did I say... All right. Anyway, they're approaching a system, and... they're awakened out of like some type of a sleep. And the ship has woken them up to investigate something. And so, they put on the screen to see what's going on, because they think they've just arrived at Earth after a long trip, doing some type of mining or something. And when they get there, they're looking at the screen, and okay, I'm having a hard time. I'm not sure if I should say the actress name or the character's name. I don't know why. It makes me a little uncomfortable. I don't know why, okay? I'm trying to be as, fair as possible, so I don't... Anyway, let's just say the character to who... The person... The thing that... that which I have been referencing to, says, she's looking on the map, and... she says, hey, that's not our system. And the purpose of this jutsu is to help or aid you in determining if you are someplace where you belong, or if you are someplace where you really not ought to be. Because sometimes you can be in a place and really think that you belong there. You can really think, oh, this is definitely my place, and I am definitely at home, and there is no way that I could not belong here. So just in case your signals are a little off, or you are, severely mistaken or something, this is the jutsu that you would use. And it can be a passive jutsu, meaning it's something that you just work on. You don't necessarily have to say it, but you're just constantly focusing or constantly trying to understand if you are where you are supposed to be. Not necessarily doubting, but just trying to make sure that you are in the right place. Secondly, I would like to bring up something. For those of you who are like wanting to be, married and that type of thing, I want you to really give it some thought. Because I know it's nice to think about being married, and it appeals to just the romantic spirit within you, and I don't know, you like the idea of just I'm with this person forever, and we our love is pure and true, or maybe you don't care about true or pure love, but you just say, hey, this gal's ain't, this gal ain't half bad. But I want you to be sober for a moment and just really give it some thought, because you might get into a marriage that you could not, get out of. Like, even, I mean, even if you got like divorced, you might always be like married to this person. So before you just dive right in, I would like to give you some scenarios to keep you sober, to kind of help you figure out if this is something that's true, that you really believe in, or maybe, something else going on. So this is just to help you in aid, because sometimes what happens is there's a line. No, I won't. Okay. Often, like, I don't know about this because obviously, well, I don't know about obviously, but I've never been like in a serious like romantic relationship. So, but I have observed from movies and television that when people get older, it's like when you've been with someone for a long time, you run out of things to talk about, and you everything else starts to look more appealing, I guess, and you're like, well, why? There comes this idea of wanting to upgrade and all that type of thing, and that's the sentiment, I think, anyway. So before you get married, I want you to have this thought, if you want to, anyway. And so picture yourself perhaps 15 or perhaps 15 or 30 years into your marriage, and or whatever feels like a very long period of time to you into your marriage. And I want you to think about your wife, you've been, or your husband or whatever, and you've been with them a long time, and I should have thought this out. I didn't think it out. All right, I might have to say this in a different way. One time I was sitting in front of CVS on Hollywood Boulevard, and this gal and this guy come up to me, and for some reason for some reason they decide to show me these pictures of celebrities, and they're like, do you know this celebrity? Do you know that celebrity? And I'm like, yeah. And then they got to the last celebrity that they showed me a picture of, and they're like, do you know this celebrity? I'm like, no, I don't know who that is. And for some reason, like, they got like really quiet or something, and like I didn't know what was going on, but okay. As I was talking to the gal, or this lady, she, we were chatting or something, and sometimes like I can like really be kind of on point. I'm not always like this, like goofy, stumbling, like, oh, I don't know, do people like me? I mean, sometimes I can really like know my shit, and I'm not saying that this was a case anyway, but I'm just, that's anyway. But as I was speaking to her, I got the sense that maybe I was being like a little too much or whatever, and so I said to her, do not be seduced by my novelty. And that's what I'm trying to communicate here. Because sometimes, like, when you marry someone, you're really just marrying novelty. You like something because it's new. You like when it's new. But all new things always become old, unless it's something that always is new. Like the sun or something. Or, well, maybe the sun gets old too, who knows. But you have to determine whether or not it's... I mean, sometimes novelty, like a new thing, seems like it's not that you actually want the new thing, because it's eventually that new thing is just going to become whatever. Like, if you're married, if you're committed, and some new thing comes along, you know, saying, hey, I'm new, I'm fresh, okay, I am like something different, you know, think, because it at some point it will become as old to you as whatever, it will become as familiar to you as whatever is familiar to you right now. And so you have to wonder, is it worth throwing away my marriage to do this? So I just want you to think and be sober and make sure that you know what's important to you, because sometimes your marriage is all you have. And I don't want you to needlessly get into situations that are gonna, you know, throw certain things into jeopardy. And that's not a question. Alright. So, okay, and another thing. In the same vein, maybe even, if you are considering having children, I want you to really think about that as well. There are some very important questions that you need to ask. You may have already asked yourself these questions, but I would like you to consider them seriously. When you have a child, you do not know what you are getting. It is always a gamble. You have no idea who is going to come through that door. There is no way for you to know. I guarantee it. So, are you willing to bring a stranger into your house, not knowing who they are, what they're about? You can't even tell what they're thinking pretty much for like the first 6 or 8 months of their life. You don't know if you've brought a serial killer into the world. You don't know if you've brought some type of a very dangerous person into the world. You don't know if you've brought some useless person into the world. You don't know what you're bringing into the world. How much, and also, what is your motivation when you are having a child? What is your real motivation? Are you having a child because you really, really, really want to make, you know, the best person that you can possibly make to contribute to this world? Or maybe you're just lonely and you want a friend. You know, you want someone to always like you, no matter what. You know what? You got to be sincere with yourself. Because guess what? I mean, these things might come up. No, man. I mean, anyway. Because there are a lot of people in the world, and if I'm not mistaken, a lot of them weren't necessarily, you know, according to plan. So it's important to be sober. Sometimes you can be so enveloped in your feelings of love, or what you think is love anyway, or that you can't see the truth. And it's hard. It is hard to try and see past your feelings. But if you want to make decisions that you don't regret, if you want to make decisions that don't haunt you, I mean, imagine if you were, you know, like Hitler's mother. You know, if somehow she had like survived or whatever, and she just ended up like, oh, you know, and imagine her like, you know, sitting on her couch one day and she's like, man, I could have aborted Hitler. And then, in fact, I really wanted to. Why did I not abort Hitler? Now, you know, to be fair, you know, sometimes it's not necessarily that, you know, it's just the energy takes the form. You know, the energy takes the form of Hitler. It doesn't mean that you could have avoided. I mean, it just happened to be Hitler who did that. But if Hitler had been aborted, that energy still would have had to manifest in some way. So it's, you know, like at the end of Ghostbusters, like choose the form. The form just happened to be Hitler, but that energy was still there. You got to get to the root of things instead of just, you know. Anyway, so I hope this was helpful. Obviously, none of this applies to me because no one wants to fuck me. sorry. I mean, not that it matters. I don't know. I'm not really. I prefer to play Scrabble and read my equivalent of the Bible. And I feel like that was a little harsh. I don't mean, it's not that no one wants to fuck me. It's just I don't, you know, I'm not, you know, I'm not romantically viable. Alright, you guys have a great day.